I found out the truth about my girlfriend. The revelation about my girlfriend's true nature unfolded in a series of events that began innocently enough. We had been together for over a year, and our relationship seemed like a harmonious melody with moments of laughter and shared experiences. However, a subtle shift in her behavior piqued my curiosity, prompting me to dig deeper into the mystery that was unraveling before my eyes. It all started with a string of late-night phone calls. At first, I dismissed them as mere casual conversations with friends or family. But as time went on, the frequency and secrecy surrounding these calls raised suspicion. Her phone became a fortress, guarded with a password I hadn't known before. When questioned about the calls, she deflected, claiming they were work-related or private matters she preferred not to discuss. Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to investigate discreetly. Late one night, I found her phone unattended and unlocked. The temptation to peek into her messages overcame me, and what I discovered sent shockwaves through my understanding of our relationship. Hidden within the digital conversations were exchanges filled with secrets and concealed truths. It became evident that she was confiding in someone else, someone who wasn't me. The words leapt off the screen, revealing an emotional connection that extended beyond the boundaries of our relationship. Confrontation became inevitable. When I finally mustered the courage to address the issue, she hesitated before reluctantly admitting to a friendship that had evolved into something more. The person on the other end of those late-night calls was an old flame from her past, someone she had reconnected with under the guise of innocent conversations. As the layers of deception peeled away, I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions: betrayal, hurt, and confusion. The truth had emerged, shattering the facade of our seemingly idyllic relationship. The late-night calls, the secrecy, and the emotional intimacy with someone else painted a different picture of the person I thought I knew. With the truth exposed, I faced a crossroads in our relationship. The challenge ahead was not just about addressing the infidelity, but also deciding whether the foundation of trust, which had been cracked, could be repaired. The journey into this revelation marked the beginning of a tumultuous chapter, leaving me grappling with the consequences of uncovering the truth about my girlfriend. The aftermath of discovering the truth about my girlfriend sent shockwaves through our relationship. As we attempted to navigate the murky waters of betrayal, the second part of our story unfolded with a series of conversations and confrontations that delved deeper into the complexities of the situation. Upon acknowledging her emotional connection with someone else, our conversations became charged with a mix of emotions: pain, anger, and an overwhelming sense of confusion. She expressed remorse and regret, insisting that it had never been her intention to hurt me. The old flame, she claimed, was merely a friend from her past who had resurfaced, and their interactions had unintentionally crossed boundaries. I struggled to reconcile her explanation with the evidence I had uncovered. The late-night calls and the hidden messages seemed to paint a different narrative, one that hinted at a more deliberate and clandestine connection. Trust, once a pillar of our relationship, now stood on shaky ground. As we engaged in tense discussions, I found myself questioning the foundation of our relationship. Was this emotional connection an isolated incident? Or had there been other instances of secrecy and betrayal? The more I probed, the more elusive the truth became. To salvage what remained of our relationship, we decided to seek professional help. Couples therapy became a venue for us to unpack the layers of our feelings and confront the root causes of emotional infidelity. The therapist guided us through painful conversations, probing into the depths of our vulnerabilities and insecurities. Yet even within the therapeutic setting, the truth remained elusive. The sessions unveiled layers of discontent and unmet needs, but the full extent of her emotional involvement with the other person remained obscured. Were there more secrets waiting to be unraveled, or was this the extent of the hidden truths? After some time, it became clear that the journey towards understanding and healing was far from over. The scars of betrayal ran deep, and the path to rebuilding trust was fraught with uncertainty. More questions loomed on the horizon, casting a shadow over the future of our relationship. In the end, the revelations of the second part left me grappling with the complexity of emotions and the uncertainty of what lay ahead. The search for truth continued, and the quest to unravel the intricacies of our relationship entered a phase where answers were elusive and the journey toward resolution seemed fraught with challenges. My life later unfolded with a mix of introspection, uncertainty, and the unrelenting pursuit of truth. The aftermath of our therapy sessions left us in a state of limbo, with emotions running high and the shadows of doubt lingering over our relationship. As we attempted to rebuild trust, new complexities surfaced, revealing layers of our individual struggles and unmet needs. It became apparent that the emotional connection my girlfriend had formed with the other person was not solely a consequence of external factors, but also rooted in the deeper complexities of our own relationship. The therapist encouraged us to explore our individual vulnerabilities and communicate openly about our desires and fears. In doing so, we stumbled upon unaddressed issues that had silently plagued our relationship. The emotional distance that had grown between us over time became a breeding ground for misunderstandings, fostering an environment where seeking solace outside the relationship seemed like a viable option. Yet, the revelations didn't end there. Unearthing these hidden aspects of our relationship led to uncomfortable truths about our compatibility and long-term goals. The question of whether our paths were truly aligned, or if we were holding on to a relationship that had run its course, lingered in the air. Simultaneously, the specter of the past continued to cast its shadow. Old wounds resurfaced, and trust, once shattered, proved difficult to rebuild. The ambiguity surrounding the extent of the emotional involvement with the other person left me grappling with a sense of insecurity, wondering if our attempts at reconciliation were built on a foundation of complete honesty. Complicating matters further, external influences exerted their impact. Friends and family offered conflicting advice, each opinion adding another layer of complexity to our decision-making process. Navigating through these external pressures while attempting to heal internally became a delicate balancing act. As the time passed, I found myself standing at a crossroads, torn between the desire to salvage what remained of our relationship and the need for a clear understanding of our individual paths. The quest for truth, initially focused on the external revelation, had now turned inward, forcing us to confront the intricacies of our emotions, desires, and the viability of a future together. The complexities in my life that had surfaced left me yearning for clarity and resolution, unsure if the quest for truth would lead to reconciliation or if the path ahead would inevitably lead to a painful separation. As we delved deeper into our emotional landscapes, we began addressing the root causes of our disconnect. It became evident that our individual aspirations and values were pulling us in different directions. The desire for personal growth and fulfillment clashed with the expectations we had unknowingly placed on each other. Complicating matters further, the emotional involvement with the other person was not a mere consequence of external factors, but a reflection of the deeper fractures within our relationship. The therapist encouraged us to communicate openly, but the conversations proved arduous, laden with unspoken fears and unaddressed insecurities. The ambiguity surrounding the extent of her emotional connection outside our relationship remained a persistent thorn. It became apparent that for trust to be fully restored, a complete and honest disclosure was necessary. The fear of discovering more hidden truths cast a long shadow, intensifying the difficulty of the path we had chosen. External influences continued to exert their sway. Friends and family, though well-intentioned, offered conflicting advice, adding another layer of complexity to our already tumultuous journey. The pressure to conform to societal expectations battled against our quest for individual happiness. The tipping point came during a particularly candid conversation. We laid bare our dreams, fears, and reservations, navigating the storm of emotions with a vulnerability that had been absent for far too long. In that moment, we faced the reality that our paths were diverging, and clinging to the remnants of our relationship might be preventing both of us from reaching our full potential. With a heavy heart, we recognized that the most compassionate choice was to acknowledge the inevitability of change. The love that had once bound us together now transformed into a bittersweet acknowledgement of growth and self-discovery. As we parted ways, the conclusion was bittersweet. The pain of separation was real, but so was the understanding that this was a necessary step for both of us. The journey to truth had unearthed complexities beyond our initial expectations, but in facing them, we found a sense of closure and the potential for new beginnings. In the aftermath, the individual paths we chose led to unexpected opportunities and personal growth. The wisdom gained from the painful process of unraveling our relationship allowed us to redefine our futures with newfound clarity and self-awareness. And so the story that began with the discovery of a painful truth found its resolution in the recognition that sometimes the most profound growth emerges from the soil of adversity. Life led us down different paths, but the lessons learned during our tumultuous journey became the foundation for brighter tomorrows. In the end, the pursuit of truth paved the way for healing, personal transformation, and the promise of positive beginnings on separate but parallel journeys. This was sent to us anonymously. Send your story to us to get featured. Subscribe to Talimi and stay tuned.